How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to episode 28 of Free Thoughts from Freedom Chiropractic and Rehab. This week's quote of the week comes from Socrates. He said, "The greatest lesson I have learned in life is that I still have a lot to learn." We all know the value of learning. I want you to think back to the last time you learned something new. Not just a fact, but a skill or a way to do something. Think about how it made you feel. I always think about when I go to continuing education classes, how I come back reinvigorated. I feel like I can conquer the world again the next day. So I want you to think about the last time you sought out information, whether we're reading it or learning it through a webinar or watching a video on YouTube even. Think about the last time you learned something significant and how it made you feel. We all need to seek out more information. Okay, let's talk about health. First, before we talk about health, I want to say thank you. I want to thank you for understanding that we didn't have these newsletters out last week. And I want to thank the patients who understood that we were out of town on vacation last week. So we took the time last week to recharge our batteries. We stepped away from the office and really unplugged. It was wonderful. But in doing so, we learned some lessons. We started our week off by traveling to a dear friend's hometown. She had lost her father, and they had the celebration of life last week. So we drove out to near Pittsburgh to spend time with her family. We learned a lot, though. We got to meet some of the people who shaped her life, but we also got to understand and have the conversation with our children about the fact that tomorrow isn't promised to any of us. None of us know for sure that we have tomorrow, so it's important that we experience life and that we have fun and enjoy ourselves along the way. We need to celebrate like it might be our last day because we never know. Then we spent 5 days in Deep Creek Lake. You know what was great about it? We had no cell phone service. We still had some Wi-Fi so the kids could still get in touch with their friends and play their games and that kind of thing, and I could watch my soccer games, but we couldn't get in touch with people. We texted and did those kinds of things, but I could not make a phone call, including when the hot water heater didn't work. But that time reinforced the need for some quiet time. The highlight of my week was waking up in the morning, having a cup of coffee, sitting outside with Dr. Carol and just reading a book. Just listening to the deer walk by, listening to the birds sing, it was wonderful. Then we returned home. After that, I drove up to visit my friend up in Penn State. It's been my best friend for a long time. We played 36 holes of golf on Friday. Most people would say that's a lot of golf, and it was. But for me, it was just time to catch up with my buddy. Hadn't seen him in a long time, and it was just nice to be able to sit and solve the world's problems as we drove around in the golf cart. It was great. But it reinforced the need to maintain those friendships. Carol took that time to drive up with the girls to Long Island to visit her family. They celebrated birthdays with family members and just again celebrated the relationships that have helped to make us who we are. It's important to make time to maintain those relationships. So even when we just have a week off, we're still looking for lessons. We're still looking for opportunities to learn and grow. I hope you can take that time to learn some of those lessons on your own and make sure that you're learning and growing as you go. Now it's time for some good news. This week's story comes from Tank's Good News on Instagram. And it was a tweet from a woman. I don't know if they're still called tweets, but that's what I'm going to go with. And she shared the story of her dad. Her dad went out to eat and said the waitress to him was treating him poorly and was being very rude to him. But instead of doing what most of us would do and just being frustrated, he went the opposite direction. He left her a $30 tip. And the waitress was so moved that she came running out after him in the parking lot, crying and apologizing. And his response was to say to her, "I know you're probably having a bad day, so I hope that made you feel a little bit better." We need more of that. That's what we need in this world. A little more empathy, a little more understanding of other people and the things that they're going through. We can never know what someone else has been through that day, that week, that month, or that year. But what we can do is just extend them kindness.